Lawrence in Berkeley, California. You wanted to talk about 9/11?
Sure. Hi, Tom. How you doing?
I'm well.
Yeah, 9/11 is the so-called reason given for all the wars we've been in and the surveillance.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's a good idea we know who did it. I wanted to refer people to an organization called Architects and Engineers for 9/11 Truth.
Yeah, it's one of the more credible and well populated by scientific types as opposed to just average Joe serious research organizations.
Yeah, it's got 2,000 architects and engineers, and a video that's narrated by Ed Asner, if you want to see that.
Mm-hmm.
And the what do you call the address is ae911truth.org. That's ae911truth.org. But what these 2,000 engineers are about is saying that these buildings could not possibly have come down by being hit by airplanes or by fire. There had to have been an internal planned explosion. And the best thing on their front page is, a picture worth 1,000 words. They have a picture of building number 7 coming down in slow motion.
Mm-hmm.
And once you see that, there's just no longer any doubt.
Mm-hmm.
Because, first of all, there's no fire. And second of all...
I understood there was a fire. I understood that they had
there
thousands
fire,
of gallons of diesel fuel in the...
You can't see it. There's nothing visible.
Yeah.
The fire came from the other buildings which were hit. Building number 7, of course, was not hit by an airplane, but some of the debris, it was 47 stories high, and some of the debris from the 110-story buildings landed on it.
Right, and caught on fire the tanks of diesel fuel that were stored in the roof or in the top floor to power the emergency generators. At least my understanding is that's the official explanation.
But that is what is so amazing about this picture.
Mm-hmm.
It was hit on the top, and the tanks were on the top, but it's really clear in slow motion that this building is collapsing from the bottom.
Mm-hmm.
And the top is completely intact, as I say, with no visible fire, and it is collapsing. You can see it collapse, whereas the top 3/4 of it are completely intact.
So who would do this, Lawrence, and why?
Okay, that's a really good question. The Project for a New American Century, which was Dick Cheney's pet organization.
Actually, Jeb Bush was a signatory.
Yes, them too.
Yeah.
They wrote a paper, their manifesto in the year 2000, which said that we have 7 Middle Eastern regimes that we want to change. We want to redraw the map completely of the Mideast.
And that the world will not agree with our efforts until there's another Pearl Harbor-like event.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Until there's another Pearl Harbor.
But that, just because
got elected.
Just because a group of crackpots are out, beating a drum doesn't mean that they wired, office buildings in New York City to come collapsing down by coincidence on the same day that a bunch of Saudi nationals decided to hijack planes and fly them into them.
Well,
isn't that a lot of coincidence?
They may have been crackpots, but they were the vice president, they were the secretary of defense, they were all kinds of people.
I stand by my adjective.
What?
I stand by my adjective.
Crackpots, yeah, I agree. Yeah. But these were very, very powerful crackpots.
Sure.
And as I say, just look at the picture.
Yeah.
It's coming straight down in its own footprint. If there were fires that were starting on the top, this wouldn't happen because then you'd see something happening on the top where it was hit, but it's coming down from the bottom, and all you have to do is look at a lot of pictures of controlled demolition, and this is exactly the same.
Right.
And one thing that these 2,000 architects and engineers say is that there has never been a steel-framed skyscraper which came down because of fire. They don't come down. Their frame is steel. Now, these are technical people. The other thing that they talk about is the fact that even weeks after 9/11, there were pools of melted steel in the track of the building. Now, in order to melt steel, I don't know the exact temperatures. It takes something like 3,000 degrees, whereas the temperature of burning fuel is only about 12 or 15, between 12 and 1,500. So you couldn't have melted steel unless there were explosions around the columns, and it wouldn't have come down unless there were explosions around the columns. And when you look at the pictures, when you look at these slow motion pictures of this thing coming down.
So Lawrence, let's, I'm agnostic on this. And only because I have, Lamar and I spent 18 years researching the Kennedy assassination. I know how much work goes into actually figuring out what happened in a historic event. And I haven't put any significant amount of research into 9/11.